Welcome back into HQ. So it wasn't a bad season by any means. The Titans, they finished 11-5. They made it to the postseason. They did lose to the Ravens there. So they've gone to the postseason, now back to back. But it also wasn't necessarily the season they wanted. So what can they do to push past that? Taking a look at the Titans 2020 season in review there, you did get a bright spot like Derrick Henry. But the Titans defense, I'm going to put into the words of Pete Prisco, was horrible. Historically bad on third downs, registered as one of the NFL's all-time worst sack totals for a playoff team. All right, let's welcome back in Danny Kanell and Will Brinson to take a look at the Titans as we go team by team here. Danny, I want to start with you, and let's start with the Titans defense, because in 2019, that's really what carried them. And then 2020, they just fell flat.
Yeah, they really did. And it was cost the team the playoffs. I mean, they were playing the Ravens at home and had them beat. And just eventually, the defense collapsed. I know there were some other issues there, late in the game, but it's something they have to address. Like, there is a formula that the Titans are trying to win with. Now, it might be an outdated formula, but it's worked to this point to get them this far. And it's run the football, kind of eliminate or reduce Ryan Tannehill's exposure to the pass game, put him in really good situations. And then the third piece of the formula is play really good defense. Well, when you don't play good defense, that's going to limit just how far you can go. So I think this is an area that the Titans are going to have to address to get better in, because the offensive formula is working spectacularly. You mentioned Derrick Henry, offensive player of the year was fantastic. And it doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. And everybody and their brother says, well, just load up the box and all you have to do is stop Derrick Henry and you can shut down the Titans. The thing is, no one can do it. Everyone knows what you should do, but they can't do it. And that's not changing anytime soon. So now they've got to address the other side of the ball, because the offense looks great, but the defense does not. And it is a liability at this point. But this team is in a really, really solid position. Mike Vrabel has built something. They've got an identity. They've got a quarterback. They've got more of the significant questions answered. Now they just need to fix the defense.
I don't understand why this team is plus money to win this division. What is going on here? This is insane. That is it. This needs to be everybody pull out your hammers and smash this thing, right? I mean, the Titans are the Colts are bringing in Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is the answer to everything, and they're basically the same value as the Titans, who are essentially returning everybody except Arthur Smith and Corey Davis on offense. Maybe Jonnu Smith too. It's a good football team. This team's really good. And yeah, the defense is problematic, but they can address it this offseason. They have a lot of young ascending players too that I think people aren't giving enough credit, between Jeffrey Simmons and Adoree Jackson and all of that. I'm frankly stunned that the Titans aren't like minus 150 to win the AFC South. I think offensively, they should have a ton of continuity. And yeah, again, you need to improve the defense. But if we know that, guess who else knows that? The Titans, and they're going to try and improve it. It's not going to be easy because they don't have a ton of money. Maybe they can find some unpaid interns to come in and play and pass rush for them. But more than likely, they'll have to go out there and develop some young players, and they'll have to figure out a way to get guys in on the cheap. They should be able to generate a little bit of pass rush. They should be better just by just the natural bend back towards the average. And I like this team I think this team's way undervalued.
All right, so you're big on them. They're plus 1,300, by the way, 6th to win the AFC South. So Will Brinson, what do they need? So according to Ryan Wilson, a lot of it is defense. What do you think they need, Will Brinson?
Well, I mean, look, you got to start with the edge rush, right? I mean, they just don't have any. They got guys in the middle who can. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is a monster. I'm telling you, people don't give this guy enough credit for what he can do on the interior, but he needs some help on the edge. They do need some depth at cornerback. I don't know that offensive tackle I would consider a need per se, but certainly given how much this team leans on the offensive line and the running game, you want to make sure you have talent at the tackle position, and then you need to improve, I guess, the defensive line depth if you want guys that they could target. I think wide receiver is a big need too that maybe Wilson didn't quite address. Just because you're losing Corey Davis, can you get him to come back on the cheap? Could you get a guy like Will Fuller, pull him away from a division foe? He'll be suspended one game, but he would pair really nicely with A.J. Brown. And then I think a pass rusher, an older guy like a Justin Houston, a Von Miller, maybe in this year where the salary cap is down, they want one more bite at the apple, but they feel like they can kind of chase a ring, get a decent one-year contract, and go back out there. Could make a little sense to join up in Tennessee, where you'll have snaps galore.
I love it. I had a similar mindset too, because Ryan Wilson didn't have wide receiver listed as a need for the Titans, but I think they should explore it. And I say, why not? Like, you got this offense the way it's working. We talked about the formula. At some point, you have to keep people off balance, and that's been their specialty, has been the play action pass. Kenny Galladay's probably out of reach, right? I don't know if they're going to go spend the money necessary to get him in there. But if you wanted to go after somebody like Rashard Higgins, who had a nice season last year, but he's not going to have you break the bank, then I think that would be a pretty decent option there. Then on the defensive side of the ball, Matthew Judon out of Baltimore. I know John Harbaugh probably wants to keep him there, but if you could lure him away, I think he'd be an outstanding addition. And then Brian Poole, another guy. These are reasonable guys you wouldn't have to break the bank for. Has been a nice option on the defensive side of the ball. He can play the slot. He's had a few interceptions here in the last couple years alone. They have to get this position and this side of the ball addressed. And I think they're going to spend the majority of their money on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, let me correct myself here. I just had AFC South in my head. They are plus 1,300, of course, to win the entire AFC. So, Will Brinson, we'll start with you since you are so high on the Titans as of right now. What are your early expectations for them?
I mean, I don't want to like pencil the Titans in to win the Super Bowl or anything, and I do have concerns about the defense. And anybody who doesn't is just being willfully negligent. But I think, given the continuity that they have, and again, Arthur Smith left, that's a problem. But Todd Downey's coming in. He's called plays before. He's in Oakland. He's now been there in 2 years, so he's seen what they can do. I have no reason to believe that this offense won't be just as explosive, just as dynamic. And I don't even know that Henry's the guy to win the MVP. I think it might be Tannehill. Give me some odds on Ryan Tannehill if he has another, if he continues to just grow as a passer in this offense. Again, that number to win the AFC South, in my opinion, is stupid. It's incorrect, and everybody should bet it. I get that Carson Wentz might bounce back with the Colts, but you can take the known of what we have in Tennessee at plus money, or you can take the unknown of what we have in Indianapolis and a team with losing its left tackle, losing its #1 wide receiver, and bringing in a new broken quarterback to try and fix him. I'll take the Titans all day, and I think that because of what they have on offense, they can absolutely make a deep playoff run, but they will need to improve the pass rush if they want to try and ultimately get to a Super Bowl.
Come on, Brinson. People are living in 2017 when Ryan Tannehill was an afterthought with the Dolphins and Carson Wentz is challenging for the MVP. That's got to be what they're thinking, because I am 100% on board with you. I think this might be one of the better locks as far as division races that you look at with the Titans here at plus money. I'm totally on board with you on that one. We're talking about Ryan Tannehill. I don't know if I'd go that far, but if they did get on a run, which you've seen them, I just think Derrick Henry's going to be the centerpiece of this offense. And I know quarterback takes a lot of the recognition, but the way this team is built, I think everybody's aware of what it means. But, we talked about a lot of quarterbacks in this, 45 minutes of the show. Guys like Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo. Ryan Tannehill's a little bit better than them, but you know why? Because they've given him the pieces to succeed. They've given him a Derrick Henry in the backfield. They'll put some wide receivers around him to limit his exposure, to get the play action pass going. So they've got the formula where I do think they've got enough around of the offense for Ryan Tannehill to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. If the defense gets addressed, now, I do think if you make any bet in the AFC that's not the Kansas City Chiefs, you're kind of making a bet that something happens to Patrick Mahomes. Maybe he stubs his toe and he misses 3 games, or he hurts his face, something along those lines. But he's already missed several games, in his last couple years. He has shown a little bit of durability problems. If they happen to face in an AFC Championship game in a 1-game scenario, I don't think it's that crazy to take a long shot at the Titans. Now, don't go breaking the bank on it, but I do think that they are building something, and they're building more and more confidence, and they're building, more veteran leadership on that team. So I don't think it's that crazy to say, hey, I know the Bills will be a trendy pick to knock off Kansas City because they were closer, but.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.